There is something Yah has been saying to his people in this hour that cannot be skipped. Before gathering, before inheritance, before restoration, he is saying one word: remember. Not remember emotionally, not remember nostalgically, but remember in the way Scripture means remembering, bringing the past into the present to guide action now. This is where we are. Remember how Yah led you. Yah says in Deuteronomy 8:2, remember how YAHUAH, your Elohim, led you on this long journey through the wilderness. Notice, Yah does not say remember the destination. He says remember the way. Because when we forget how he led us, we begin to misinterpret where we are. We call preparation delay. We call training punishment. We call protection attack. But remembering restores context. It corrects vision. The wilderness was never about geography. The wilderness was not about sand. It was not about distance. It was not about wandering. The wilderness was about governance. Yah was not simply moving his people forward. He was training their hearts. Yah leads his people in ways that train their hearts, not just move their feet. They were being trained to live under the governance of the covenant and later govern blessing without being corrupted by it. This was not survival training. This was inheritance training. To train is to prepare for success, to obtain it, and to maintain it. Testing was not for Yah, it was for them, and it's for us. The verse continues, sending hardship to test you, to know what was in your heart and whether you would obey his commands. This does not mean Yah needed information. Yah is not learning. He is not uncertain. He is not discovering. Testing in Scripture is revealing, not informing. Pressure reveals allegiance. Fire reveals substance. The wilderness revealed hearts, not only to Yah, but to the people themselves. Obedience under pressure clarifies loyalty. The most dangerous season, it is not the wilderness. As Deuteronomy 8 continues, Yah gives a sober warning. When you have eaten and are full, when your silver and gold increase, be careful that you do not forget YAHUAH, your Elohim. Hardship is not the greatest threat. Prosperity without remembrance is. Because forgetting in blessing produces pride, and pride produces misattribution. Yah says plainly, remember, it is YAHUAH, your Elohim, who gives you the power to get wealth. Blessing requires governance, and governance requires remembrance. Gathering does not mean everyone enters. This is where the word becomes sobering but necessary. Scripture shows us again and again, many were delivered from Egypt, but not all entered the promised land. And the prophets tell us plainly that this pattern repeats. In Ezekiel 20, Yah speaks of a second gathering, a wilderness again, passing under the rod, a purging of rebellion. This is not cruelty. This is covenant clarity. The rod is not abuse. The rod is measurement. Not everyone who is gathered is prepared to govern inheritance. This is why remembering matters now. This is why the cry has shifted. First it was awaken, arise, remnant. Now it is remember. Because awakening without remembrance leads to misalignment. Remembering brings the past into the present to guide obedient action. This is not fear-driven. This is preparation-driven. Yah is forming a people who can handle blessing, steward authority, govern with humility, and remain submitted under covenant. The book of remembrance is being written. And this is where Malachi speaks directly into this moment. In Malachi 3:16, it says, "Then those who feared YAHUAH spoke often one to another, and YAHUAH listened and heard them. And a book of remembrance was written before him." Notice, remembrance begins in conversation, in reverence, among those who fear Yah, and Yah records it. Before restoration is revealed on earth, remembrance is written in heaven. This is where we stand now. We are standing in a familiar place, not Egypt, not the land yet, but the space in between. The wilderness is coming again, not to destroy, but to prepare, not to delay, but to train, not to reject, but to reveal. Those who remember will walk forward with clarity. Those who forget will stumble before the blessing. This is not condemnation, this is alignment. So the call is not to panic. It is not to speculate. It is not to strive. The call is simple and weighty. Remember how Yah led you, because remembering restores context, it corrects vision, it governs blessing, and it prepares a people to enter what Yah has promised without losing themselves along the way. We must remember.